Toyota is involved in yet another scandal. This time they're not alone. They're bringing down Mazda, Honda, Yamaha to their level as well. They're all, even Suzuki, they're all caught cheating once again, or at least once again for Toyota. The other companies may be a little bit newer to this sort of fraudulent activity. And we're going to break down what the heck is going on. Here's Akio Toyoda feeling the shame rest on his shoulders as chairman and former CEO. Is this a crippling thing for Toyota and these other Japanese automakers or motorbike makers in the sake of Yamaha? Or is this kind of a nothing burger for us in the United States? Well, we'll get into that. If we go to automotive news, we have a growing list of sins they're bringing to the confessional at this point in time. Back in 2022, Hino Motors was hit hard for emissions failing. It was kind of like their version of Dieselgate. Then this past September, Daihatsu, their K-car mini car maker, mainly selling cars in Southeast Asia and Japan. This was a big one. If you thought Hino was bad, this one was more like a mortal sin. The mini car subsidiary was forced to suspend global shipments after it was found to have rigged side collision safety tests amid irregularities dating back to the year I was born, 1989, also the year of the birth of Lexus. In January, once again, Toyota halted worldwide shipments of 10 nameplates, none of them available in the United States. Most of them were diesels. Again, the Dieselgate spreading for them, as engines supplied by Toyota Industries have improper horsepower and torque testing. These scandals forced some 300,000 recalls at Daihatsu alone. So what are we dealing with now here? We could watch an hour and 37 minutes of the shaming, press conference here with Akio Toyoda and another executive. And then we could also read this really long document kind of summarizing that talk. But instead, we're actually going to go to Best Car Web. Who would have thought? We go to Best Car Web typically for upcoming Toyota models, but they actually do a great job breaking down what's going on here. So there are 6 fraudulent cases that were found for Toyota. If we go to Nikkei Asia, they also tally what happened at Mazda. Mazda has 5 irregularities. 2 are in production. We'll go over those here in a little bit. Yamaha has 3 models, which is ironic. I just bought my first Yamaha, the MT-09, watched my first driving impressions or riding impressions of that amazing piece of art. And one of those Yamahas is still in production. Honda has 22 models, Suzuki 1. So going back to Best Car Web, let's start with the first irregularity here. Data from airbag timer ignition was used in the certification application for minor change vehicles in the 2014 Crown and the 2015 Isis, which we don't get either of those cars. The second case of irregularity, pedestrian protection tests were conducted at a more severe angle than specified in the 2015 Corolla. Number 3 irregularity, pedestrian protection tests were conducted at different left-right location than was applied for in the Sienta and Crown, 2 vehicles we don't get. Number 4, rear-end collision tests were conducted using a dolly that was 700 kilograms heavier than the regulations called for. So they overbuilt that Crown and Sienta there. Number 5, tests were conducted with luggage test blocks that were not certified under the new regulations loaded in the luggage compartment on the Yaris Cross. Unfortunately, we don't get the Yaris Cross, but that's kind of like a nothing in my opinion. An engine output was lower than what was applied for, so an ROM tune was performed on the 2015 Lexus RX. We got the 2015 Lexus RX, and they essentially had to tune the engine differently and didn't tell anyone about it. There you have it. That's all that Toyota is taking the knee for here. Yes, it's good that they're coming clean about this because they were falsifying their testing or not doing the testing correctly, but all their cars are safe to drive. They've communicated that over. So it's not like there's a recall or anything. All of these cars are still safe to drive. It's just that the testing that they were doing on it was not up to certification standards. All right. And it's the same thing with these other Japanese companies. So let's go to Mazda as well. Overview of irregularities, regular processing of test vehicles and crash tests regarding 3 models which are no longer in production, and a certification test for occupant protection in the event of frontal collision. An external device was used to trigger a timed activation of the airbag instead of a spontaneous activation based on collision detection by an onboard sensor. So it sounds like, yes, the airbags will deploy, but not in the manner and the updated manner that was required of them. And so this is in the Atenza, Excella, and Atenza / Model 6, which all these testings for these vehicles for Mazda were for the Japanese market. So it doesn't affect the vehicles here stateside, and it even tells you, the volume. So Mazda did it right here, explaining exactly the production period, the volume, the sales period, the destination market, the models. I love it. They also rewrote engine control software and testing on 2 models, which are currently in production, and one of those is the Roadster RF. However, that's just for the RF MX-5 models sent to the Japanese market, made in Japan, sent to Japan, just 10,000 units. Now, because of this, 2 models are in suspension right now since May 30th for production, and that would include the RF for the American market. More than likely, they would shut down production on all RF Mazda Miatas. Hopefully that also doesn't screw with the soft top. Time will tell though, but Mazda 2, we don't get that anymore. We had it for a short period of time, but those were all made in Mexico, if I remember right, anyways. And just like the Toyota models, there is no safety issue for the customers to continue to drive the effective vehicles. They're still sound, they're still safe. So moving on over to Honda, what kind of fraudulent behavior are they working with here? Improper noise testing and improper cases and prime mover onboard output testing for gasoline engines and electric motor maximum output and rated output testing. We also have improper cases and prime mover vehicle output tests for gasoline engines. All right, so let's get into the models affected from improper noise testing. Honda Fit, rest in peace. I wish we got the Acti. Well, you can actually import the Acti now, the little K truck or K van. I think it's just a truck. I forget what the Honda vans are called. In-Wagon? I forget. Anyways, the Honda Legend, aka the Acura RLX, was involved here. The CRV was involved for improper noise testing. Odyssey, but pretty sure this is a Japanese market Odyssey. And that's about it. The Vezel used to be the HRV, but I think they went separate ways. The ZRV is what the HRV is over there now. Anyways, NSX was involved with improper noise testing. Improper cases of prime mover onboard output testing for the gasoline engine and electric motor output. So these are like, I would assume, hybrids, which we still don't have a hybrid on the Odyssey. Of course, they do over in Japan, but the Odyssey over there is different from the ours here. And then improper conduct on onboard engine output testing for the Fit, the Odyssey, the Shuttle Jade. So essentially, not really any of these vehicles have anything to do with our market. Yes, the CRV was in there. Yes, it's just improper noise testing. Doesn't mean the cars aren't quiet, or it's just the testing that they did wasn't up to industry standards. That's about it. So what this is making like big headlines, right? It's easy to call out these mega companies for doing something wrong. They're run by humans. Just like any religious organization or any mega corporation or any government, they're all susceptible to getting things messed up. And Toyota, yeah, they're the world's largest automaker. There's going to be things they're trying to cut corners with or find an easier way, more efficient way, a less costly way to do things. And at least they're admitting it. Well, the Japanese government forced them to do investigations on their own testing. And that's why Honda, Mazda, Suzuki, Yamaha, maybe Suzuki, I don't know. There's probably more that's going to come out in the future, but most of these issues are just for the Japanese market and the specific testing they have there. To me, it's an absolute nothing burger compared to maybe emissions testing. That seems like a bigger deal to me, cheating that. But the biggest screw up for Toyota was not these weird testing incongruencies. It was their Daihatsu brand modifying their vehicles for side impact crashes and then not mass producing them with that structural improvement. Yeah, that was a big screw up, and they've been doing it since 1989. So Daihatsu has to change radically as a brand and reinvent themselves in some ways. But the rest of this news coming, yes, it steals headlines. It's honestly like not a big deal. There's far worse things that these companies could be doing than weird sound testing or using a dolly that's twice as heavy or something than what this the test requires. So weird stuff like that. It's a nothing burger. It's fun to talk about, or at least click into, which I know all of you guys clicked into this, but rest assured, it's not, it's like essentially nothing, at least in my opinion. I'm not going to lose any sleep over this with these strange testing irregularities. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed today's video, smash the like button, make sure you subscribe for more auto industry news, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.